Hi there, I just felt to put together a little video on the mind shift meditation and a little bit of a background on essentially how it works and how to use it. Yeah, so as I've said in previous videos, like when we're younger, we have an experience and it kind of really forms a deep part of us and kind of keeps playing out when we're older. And yeah, when we're younger, our minds are far more malleable, the neural pathways. And as we grow older, it becomes more and more difficult to change these pathways. So essentially this meditation is really a tool to help change these pathways easier into more sort of healthy pathways. I had the example in one of the previous videos as well of like a dog might chase us when we're young, and from then on we've got this experience around you know, dogs being dangerous or whatever, just as an example. But these kind of things play out in all kinds of different ways around relationships with money, around relationships with people, around relationships with cameras. For me, this has been a big one, and hearing myself and seeing myself, and 101 different ways that these experiences that we have as young people kind of keep playing out. And it really affects, as I've said in previous videos as well, really seems to affect our physical reality. I change a belief system and my whole physical reality around that theme changes. So for me, over the last many years, it's been really a case of identifying unhealthy belief systems and changing them. So that's kind of what this, you know, mind shift meditation is here for. The mind shift mantra is another way of doing it, but this meditation is another way, and it's just for you to find which tool is best for you, and maybe, you know, certain tools that suit better in certain environments or certain times. So feel free to kind of play around with these different tools. But yeah, so essentially, as I was saying, when we're younger, we have experiences, and these experiences form what they call neural pathways. And I'm no quantum scientist or anything like this. I've just, you know, spent a lot of time messing around and using these tools and noticing the improvements and doing bits of research here and there. So this is just my sort of view and interpretation of things. So please don't take everything I say in a scientific way, because it's not that scientific. But yeah, going back to the neural pathways, essentially, yeah, they formed a lot easier when we're younger, and when we become older, they're a lot more difficult to undo. So we can try and change our relationship around some topic in the physical reality by living it out differently all the time. And there are other tools, but it seems to be really a lot more difficult. And this meditation is a tool that I found that's made it really easy. And sort of a bit of the theory behind it is when we go into a state of meditation, we enter what we call a theta state. Our brainwave frequencies drop to a theta state. And when we're in this theta state, our neural pathways are a lot more easily reprogrammable or changeable. So the whole concept of this meditation is essentially to go into that theta state and then re-envision and revisit these belief systems in terms of how we don't want to see them, but then again how we do want to see them. So it's really going through this process of deprogramming and then reprogramming in a healthy way. That's really like the essence of this. So it's really a case of identifying the belief system. You'd use the same thing with the mantra. Is really identifying the belief system, and then with the meditation, we're going into a state of meditation, and there'll be various ways of going into a state of meditation. So in time we might add a few more different meditations, and again you just see which one suits you best. But then once you're in this theta state, one will go through and like, what is this belief system you don't want to believe anymore, and what is it you do want to believe, and how will that feel, and all that kind of talks you through the whole process of how does it feel and how will you act and all that kind of thing. And yeah, I invite you to go to one of the meditations and you know, just listen to that section, the mind shift part, and just get a feeling of what's going on and what are the sort of guidance lines and And yeah, so when you're actually doing it, you've got an idea of what's sort of coming, and you can kind of prep your belief system in accordance with that kind of thing. Also going to put together a list of like possible belief systems, and some of these are belief systems, or most or many are belief systems I've had and I've worked through myself with this meditation, and others are maybe new or ones I've come up with that might be helpful for other people, because again, we all have different experiences and we're coming into this life from different places. So although we might share a lot of similar belief systems, we will also have our own. And again, this is just a sort of a guideline of possible belief systems, but the invitations are really for you to find out what belief systems you've got running, and how you're wanting to, and what you're wanting to change, should I say. So yeah, in terms of the actual meditation itself, as I mentioned earlier, it's a process of kind of going into this Theta state. So it's a case of lying down or sitting up straight. It's really up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with. What is important is that your back is straight and that your eyes are closed. And yeah, you might find while you're going into the state of meditation that you start feeling like slight tingling sensations, and also slightly lightheaded and stuff, and also just not to be fearful of that. That's a huge part of really going into this sort of Theta state, which is really what we want to go. And the deeper we go into this Theta state, the more effective, the mind shifts will be, because the more subtle our neural pathways will be. Again, these are sort of my interpretations of the science of this, so don't totally quote me on it. So yeah, once we're in this Theta state, then we're going to start being guided through, like, what is it we no longer want to believe about ourselves, and we really go into whatever the theme is, or the belief system is that we're wanting to shift at that time. Really start feeling that, like, no, I don't want to be this anymore, I'm not healthy with this, I mean, it's not healthy for me, all that kind of thing. And then it'll go through a phase of, well, what is it you do want to believe about yourself and feel about yourself, and you start really kind of feeling, I now want to behave like this in the world, and this is what it feels like, and all that. And generally those feelings would be kind of, you'd want to feel peaceful within that situation, you'd want to feel calm within that situation, you'd want to feel love, or loving, or loved, or a feeling of love. And what was the other word? Yeah, and like a sense of groundedness. So it's really about embodying these feelings and these emotions when you're in the state that previously you weren't behaving very healthily in, or wasn't very healthy for you. And again, this is just a very vague sort of guideline as to where to go with this, and it's really for you to feel and sense how it is you want to embody this, I also invite you to kind of, I've said, sort of talk to or communicate with the guidance. So when the question is, what is it you no longer want to believe, you can really say, like, I don't want to believe that, or whatever it is. And when it's like, what is it you do want to believe, then you can say, I really believe that I want to whatever it is. Like, really engage, like heavily engage, and really embody it and really feel it. Because for me, the embodying it and the feeling it is really where it shifts and where things change. And especially while you're going through the shifting of the belief systems, you might notice your body wants to move or jolt or jerk or something. And the invitation again is just to really go with that, just not to hold back. Don't restrict yourself. If you feel like tense or tight somewhere, move that part of your body. Because I really feel that it's, these belief systems really bury themselves within our physical beings. And through this process of rewriting these programs, there is a lot of movement that sometimes comes up, and trying to release ourselves from these things. So feel free to really encourage, and in fact, I encourage you to kind of really move wherever you sense there's a needing to move, or wherever your body wants to move. Don't restrict yourself physically. Yeah, what else did I want to add to that? yeah, if you feel you actually don't have the capacity to do the meditation at the time, by all means maybe stop and do it another time when you have the capacity. If you find yourself wanting to sleep a lot, again, maybe just rest and try it again when you have capacity, but realize that one's going to have to do this meditation, or, it's best to do this meditation. Well, it's the best tool I've found for me. So again, that's why I've gone through this effort to kind of create these things and share them. So really do it, but do it in a time that you have the capacity for it and you're well rested. What else did I want to add to all of that? I've got some notes here. Let me see if anything comes up. Yeah, the other thing was to really just follow along as best as you can. And if you don't get it perfectly right, as I see it, there's no such thing as perfectly right. Just do your best, And the more you do this meditation, the more used to you'll get to the guidance and all that, and the more comfortable it'll feel. So as I've said earlier, like if you want to go and actually just listen to the meditation without getting into it, or just the mind shift part of it, I'll try and remember to put a time mark in or a chapter in as to where the mind shift part starts, and just listen to that so you're prepared as to what questions are coming up, or what guidances are coming up, should I say. So yeah, just follow along as best as you can. Yeah, the one other thing was to really kind of like relive the situation. So if you have a situation that makes you aware of, hang on, this doesn't feel good, there's something wrong here, you muscle check into what it is, what the belief system is. You identify the belief system. Again, you can use that list to see if you can find any sort of themes that might be, what's going on for you. But again, that's just like a guidance, so feel free to create your own or adapt those to kind of what feels right to you. And yeah, in the meditation, you can really kind of live that experience, relive it, the experience, but to live it really in a healthier way. Like, how would you have wanted to behave? Really envision that. So if it's like a thing that you battle with confrontation, as an example, then you want to, and confrontation is a strong word, it's almost more for me like just standing up for yourself and communicating what you're feeling. Confrontation is almost an energy to me. So it's more just being able to stand up for what you believe and what you feel at that time in a loving way. But so listening to the other, but this is me and this is where I'm at. And so you can go into the meditation, for example, and what do you no longer want to believe, and you can feel and embody and kind of converse in a way of saying like, I no longer want to not be able to express myself, I want to be able to express myself fully. And then it gets to the point of, well, what is it you do want to believe about yourself, and how does that feel, and how does that, all of that, you kind of can have this thing of like, I can express myself in tight situations or tricky situations, and I'm still feeling calm, I'm still feeling centered, I'm communicating in a loving way, and that kind of thing, as an example. I think that's maybe quite a good example. So really just, visualize and play. And again, the more you use this meditation, the better you'll get at it. And this is not a meditation you need to do, on the same theme, hundreds of times or every day or anything. You do it once, you carry on with life. If you notice the theme coming up again, you're welcome to do it again on the same theme, or maybe it's a slightly different theme. And again, muscle checking is a good tool to kind of identify what the exact theme is. But know that you don't have to do this meditation over and over again daily or anything. It's literally a case of doing it and carrying on with life and seeing where things go from there. But again, the deeper we go into that Theta state, the more effective it's going to be. I want to see what else I had written here. We intend to create a few different meditations, and by we, I mean I and whoever I collaborate with, and that's the same with this whole GrowFully project. We intend to create a few meditations. So the first one that's going to go up has a bit of an introduction to it, very summarized, or not that summarized, but quite summarized version of sort of what I'm saying here, and it shifts one belief system. But we're intending to add a few more in time that kind of can shift 2 belief systems, or maybe even 3. We'll see how we go. And we might even have a few different versions of, so a few different ways of getting into that theta state or into the meditative state. So at the moment, Hannah's created a beautiful one, which is the very gentle one, and in time I might, or we might, or I don't know, we'll see what happens, create some with different breathing methods and all. So again, feel free to kind of find the meditation that feels and works best for you, and maybe start with the one with the introduction that shifts a single belief system, and as you get more familiar with the way this whole thing works, feel free to go to the belief system that shifts, the meditation that shifts 2 or more belief systems. Obviously then you have to prepare your 2 belief systems, so also maybe depending on how many belief systems you have that you're wanting to change, you can decide which meditation to choose. I think that explains it. Yeah, I'm going to put some notes in the beginnings of the meditations as well, like text on the screens to follow. Again, sort of around, where to find different parts of it. Like the mind shift part, if you just want to go straight to that and listen to it, you can. But no, you need to be in that theta state before the mind shift part of it will be effective. You can't skip straight to that. You need to be in that theta state. So you need to go through the introduction of the meditation to get into that theta state for the mind shifts to be effective. I think I'm going to leave this video at this, and yeah, lots of love and all the best.